Well there, Generation Tech. Welcome back to another episode of my face, Alan. A common misconception that many people have about the Jedi is that every youngling eventually becomes a padawan, and every padawan eventually becomes a Jedi Knight. And this is akin to saying that every YouTuber will one day become Mr. Beast, or Casey Neistat, or PewDiePie. Most people don't realize that the majority of YouTubers will never reach that level of fame, riches, or success that will allow them to walk around in public without any pants on. I mean, sure, one can rent a Lamborghini for the weekend or Airbnb a mansion, but these are just the lowly pursuits of material wealth, and in the long run, they are meaningless. To obtain true success, wealth, one must first find freedom below the waist. What are we talking about again? Ah, yes. So, in most professions, we're only given a glimpse of the most glamorous parts of an industry or job. And the Jedi are no different. We tend to think that individuals like Yoda, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin are the norm for the Jedi, when they are in fact the top 1% of 1% of the Jedi Order, and potentially once-in-a-generation type Force users. Do you remember the skirmish at Petronaki Arena? Remember the skirmish at Petronaki Arena? Well, out of the 212 Jedi who went on that rescue mission, only 30 of them survived. While many Jedi perished that day because of bad luck, the ones who did make it all survived because of their skill. Just 14% of the entire task force, which was made up of supposedly very elite Jedi operators. So what happens to the rest of the Jedi Order? The individuals who aren't skilled enough to become Padawans, let alone Jedi Knights, where do they go? Do they become protein bars? In ancient times, the Jedi were a more decentralized organization with less rules and regulations. All power was concentrated back then into the hands of the individual Jedi Master, who more or less made up their own rules while following loose general guidelines, like don't kill your Jedi younglings, Anakin. There were no rules about how old a Jedi recruit had to be. There were no rules on how many apprentices one Jedi could have. As a matter of fact, many Jedi Masters would start their own schools and teach very different curriculums based on their own understandings of the Force. It was, again, very decentralized time. Back then, the Jedi were purely focused on cultivating the Force, and a side effect of that journey just happened to be that they occasionally fought bandits and other individuals threatening the peace. They were a very streamlined and minimalistic organization that was usually regionally and locally focused. The Jedi Order of the Golden Age of the Republic, the Jedi Order that we see in the prequels, is a completely different organization. It was massive in comparison. Aside from the main temple on Coruscant, the Jedi had thousands of different outposts in varying states of repair and funding scattered all across the galaxy, including space stations like Brightest or the Starlight Beacon. They had a massive fleet of starfighters and other support ships as well. They also had a massive collection of art and holocrons stored in their archives, along with a financial portfolio that rivaled the largest companies in the galaxy. Now, the face of the Order were the Jedi Knights and Masters. In total, there were around 10,000 to 100,000 of these individuals representing the Jedi Order in various roles ranging from peacekeeper to diplomat, all across the galaxy. But behind each Jedi Knight was a massive logistical network and bureaucratic network that supported every one of their actions. Most of the support staff were non-Force sensitives hired by the Jedi Order, but you also had Force sensitives assisting as well. On top of that, the Jedi could use the Force for a whole bunch of different things that didn't actually involve combat and diplomacy, but more on that later. So there was no official midichlorian count requirement to become a Padawan. If you made it through the initial screening from the Jedi Seeker, then you were eligible. You see, everything comes down to a numbers game. There was always a steady flow of new Jedi younglings being initiated into the Order. But there was no real requirement for a Jedi Knight or Master to take on an apprentice. It was highly encouraged and seen as one of the most important duties a Jedi could take on, but it definitely wasn't forced upon individuals. And so sometimes there weren't enough Masters for all of the apprentices, and sometimes there weren't enough apprentices for all the Masters. Now, in each youngling clan, you will have standouts who are far more talented or mature or hairy. These individuals will be selected first at a younger age to be Padawans, whereas some younglings would continue to be an initiate well into their teenage years, either because they're not skilled enough or they're not mature enough. Although we have to remember that there were a variety of different species with different lifespans in the Jedi Order, so age wasn't the only indicator of progress. And these selections were made solely at the discretion of these individual Jedi Knights and Masters. There was no ranking system or anything like that. You did, however, have all sorts of contests and showcases that the Jedi Initiates would take part in. The Jedi Knights and Masters could just drop in and take a look at what's going on. Known as the Initiate Trials, these tests occurred once a year and were different every year. When Count Dooku was a Padawan, the trial basically consisted of a series of duels that would take part in the Jedi Temple. In previous years, this event was held in space and even underwater. And so just like in real life, the situation here wasn't always fair. Not everyone was paired with a Jedi Master. Generally speaking, this was a merit-based system, but you obviously have a lot of individuals here with personal preferences and biases as well. For instance, you would have Jedi Masters like Luminara Unduli who would only train an apprentice from the same species as her, which was something that happened with many of the Mirialan who joined the Order. You also have individuals who just don't pass the Initiate Trials, or perhaps they did pass the trials yet no Master wants to select them as their apprentice. These individuals can either try again the following year to be selected, or if they performed so poorly, they were just expelled from the Jedi Order. The third option was that one could join an organization known as the Jedi Service Corps. Run by the Council of Reassignment, one of the 4 councils within the Jedi Order, the Jedi Service Corps was made up of 4 main branches. You had the Exploration Corps. They were responsible for exploring and surveying new worlds, life forms, and civilizations. The history of the Exploration Corps dates back to the early Republic age, back before hyperspace lanes were well established. Jedi navigators used to use the Force to steer ships around the many gravitational anomalies in space to chart new safe passages. Then you had the Agricultural Corps. They ran a series of research labs and farms to better understand the various flora from around the galaxy using their Force connections. Their main goal was the pursuit of knowledge, and that led to better understanding of how to grow certain crops and the discovery of new medicinal herbs. In Legends, Obi-Wan Kenobi was actually assigned to the Agricultural Corps before Qui-Gon Jinn found it. Caleb Toom also feared that he would end up in the Agricultural Corps as a youngling and spend the rest of his life talking to plants and Ithorians. Just terrible. You also had the Educational Corps, who was overseen by the Librarians Assembly and the Chief Librarian. This might seem like another boring job, but guarding the Jedi's hidden secrets and massive collection of artifacts and holocrons was actually a very serious job. There was quite a lot of wisdom and dangerous weapons being hidden within these archives, and it was up to Jocasta Nu and her underlings to make sure that the wrong people didn't get access to them. Lastly, we had the MedCorps, mainly centered in the Jedi Temple's Halls of Healing. This was an organization dedicated to the art of medicine, specifically using the Force to regenerate life. The temple is actually very well connected to the Republic Medical Center on Coruscant, and any non-Jedi individuals who had very life-threatening wounds that need specialized training would be sent to the Jedi Temple. During times of war, these individuals would be deployed as battlefield medics. Now, there is a bad connotation associated with the Service Corps, especially amongst Jedi Younglings. Most Younglings wanted the glory and adventure associated with being a Padawan and eventually a Jedi Knight and Master. The Service Corps was seen as like a supporting role kind of organization, and no one really wanted to join that organization. But the Service Corps was an extremely important part of the Jedi Order, and some Jedi were truly better suited for the Service Corps and could make a huge impact on the galaxy through their work. It's for this reason that Jedi Masters and Jedi Knights were routinely rotated within the Service Corps in order to support their various missions. The older Knights and Masters who have spent more time in the Jedi Order understood the importance of these support organizations. During the Clone Wars, however, the Service Corps would be militarized and join the war effort more directly. So as you can see, there were other pathways to becoming a Jedi outside of becoming a Jedi Knight. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Would you be pissed off if you joined one of these service organizations instead of becoming a Jedi Knight? I mean, even though I know the importance of logistics and all of these other supporting roles, I would be pissed. You know, you take me away from my parents, force me to do all sorts of weird things, wear robes, and you don't let me become a Jedi Knight? Nah. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. And as usual, my name is Alan, and my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy.